Good afternoon and welcome to the next in the series of Successful Introvert Workshops. My name is Brian Johnson and the host. It's really great to be here this afternoon on a beautiful sunny afternoon. I hope whenever you're watching the weather is gorgeous. As we move through November, it's great to enjoy the beautiful sunshine in the autumn. And firstly, just to introduce myself, I'm Brian Johnson. I describe myself as a quiet coach, and I really come on a journey through working 30 years in financial services. I know I don't look old enough, and learning along the way and struggling for many of those years as an introvert to find success being myself without trying to be something I'm not. And it's really over the last few years I've been on a bit of a transformational journey, learning about learning different ways and exploring where my passions is. And once I realized that what I enjoy doing most is really helping, guiding, mentoring people younger than me who are introverted to navigate their way through a work environment dominated by extroverts, I'm really invested in retraining and coaching and skills to be able to share in a more structured, organized way something of the lessons I'd learned. And that's really what my passion is and what I really enjoy doing at the moment. So today, taking a look at being new and not rude, which is really an interesting subject. It's struck me as you almost feel a challenge to expand and explain, because I think I've been there. I've just been sitting there and thought, oh, people have misinterpreted me as being annoyed, upset, angry, or even totally ignoring them and what's going on. When in reality, that is not how I'm feeling inside. I can often, and sometimes that's been really frustrating and found it really annoying. Having to explain myself to who I am to those around me, and it's been very frustrating. It creates the unexpected impression that you're a grumpy old sod who never smiles, and that's but for me, that's who I am. I mean, I can be honest, I can hold an entire conversation with an introvert friend with just raising my eyebrows, and that is enough to here. Or can sit there and for half an hour, and speaking every few minutes, just sitting there and not particularly apparently paying attention to each other, but just that's the way I often communicate. I'm not going to sit there and talk. Silence is there to be appreciated and taken in, so we notice the other things going around. Whereas my wife, quick introduction, meeting someone, she hasn't seen in a while, when she's rushing somewhere, she'll talk for 15 minutes, and that's just the way she is. And recognizing there's big differences between us is something what it is. The good question is, who decides we're being rude? It's often the other person's really making that choice because they see the world differently to us. One of the biggest things you can take away from this is being self-aware that we all see the world through different eyes. We all see it from a different angle. And realizing actually what we see is only our view of the world, and someone else sees it completely differently. And they interpret their actions, their reaction to us is built on how they interact with other people. So if their face is very expressionate, showing how they're deeply feeling inside, they will interpret our actions in the same way, where our faces may broadly be neutral. I know mine is. I'm really happy, sad. There's not really much difference. That's really where we're going on. The review of what is causing misunderstanding. Sometimes it's just actually, are we willing to notice what is going on? Do you ever think about where you where your eyes focus when you're talking about, when you're thinking about and talking to people. Do you ever think about, actually, where do I look? And what message that sends to other people? Where we are looking is a clear signal to other person, or from their point of view, what we're thinking, what's going on. So, for instance, if you're being, some people get really in the habit of looking down all the time. That really gives that submissive view. That's not the impression they want to give. And looking up, making eye contact can be quite aggressive. Looking around, you can feel different. So, have you ever thought about where you are looking when you're thinking or doing stuff? So that's just a very simple exercise to help you think about this. Think of a fun thing you did last week. Just recall what you saw and what you felt, smelt, touched. Create that impression of when you were thinking about that. Create that real impression. And I tend to, when recalling those images, come up, I'm looking up and to the right, and it's just like, I'm doing it almost lifts a smile on my face. It's really, I find that quite interesting. Now I think of something that really annoyed you. And to look onto the left. This, if you're recalling a negative memory, just think about where you are focusing. When I look down, I tend to feel the sense of annoyance and anger. This morning, dealing with an online issue, doing the help desk, I was really annoyed about that. Just thinking about that annoyance, God, I was really angry. But actually, so now I think about it now, let's look at, that was, I was annoyed and waste of an hour something. That's resolved, but that can be annoyed, resolved. And it's just moving the eyes. So next time, really talking to someone, just notice when asking questions where they are looking. It might give you hints to what they are thinking, whether they're looking up and feeling happy, or whether they're looking down and feeling more sad. Notice where you're looking when you're talking to somebody. It's not necessarily about making eye contact with them. It's looking, focusing past them, and just engaging differently. Something to think about. Where am I looking when people say, "Oh, you're angry"? And sometimes just making the small changes can really make a big difference. But ultimately, people interpret us from what we look like, what we sound like, what they see. And fundamentally, we can't take control of their emotions, how they respond. What we can do is be aware of what we do, how that impacts the response they get. So we can change what we're doing to change that. We can recognize where our facial expressions are being misunderstood. And recognize maybe we've got stuck in some bad habits around my neutral face has become quite sad. Sometimes it's just bringing in those thoughts, getting the habit of, okay, how am I feeling? What does remembering calling what a happy face looks like? Just bringing in that memory to lift your face. I'm thinking of the quality time I spent with a friend last week in an early morning breakfast after the school and catching up. Quality one-to-one time is what I really appreciate. And that's the image that comes to mind. We call that happy time, having a proper conversation one-to-one without interruptions, and to joy and silence as well together. Actually look around your environment, think about the people you interact and think about how you've interacted throughout the day. If you want to change how people see you, think about how you can bring in a sense of happiness at the start of the day when you engage with them, where you look at them. See something positive in them. You see, instead of trying to avoid the eye contact with somebody when you walk into the office, you can take control. You can look and go, oh, and see something that makes you smile. Oh, yeah, that place. Oh, my boss going grey. Whatever brings a smile to your face, we're all different. That's my mischievous side. But it's thinking about actually, yeah, oh, that's a great shirt they're wearing today. We're keeping our eyes up, looking up, and engage with them in a much happier way. Something like, ooh, and move your vision past sideways rather than letting down. Always look up, that's different. So, figuring out where you want to start. Can you make a difference? Can you take control? Only you can change your habits. How do you create a new habit? It's thinking about you're listening because you want to change something. The worst can happen that you'll be exactly where you are after exploring, trying to change something. Again, this is partly down to language. Not trying to do something, you're exploring, you're experimenting, you're implementing, you are using. Try almost implies a half effort. It's just one of those words I'm aiming to remove from my language. I catch myself saying something, did I try? We're not playing rugby. It's an experiment. I'm doing something different. I'm exploring what works. I'm looking for motivation for change. If I tried to do these workshops, they wouldn't happen because I go, oh, well, it doesn't work. Okay, Zoom is playing up and trying to screen my presentation to Zoom, that's not working. I'm trying to link it through. It's going through. Okay, no, I'll give up. That's a try. Actually, okay, something's gone wrong. Let's just continue and see what happens. And just exploring what I can do and what motivates you. The realization is as you explore the new habits, how people will respond to you. Create a new habit. Look up. Today, I am going to look up as I walk past people. When I break contact, I'm going to break it sideways rather than down. Just changing that small head movement. And decided they're over there, to their very to your right, and you towards them, you acknowledge them, and you break. You want to talk to them. You keep the eye contact, but thinking about happy, something positive. Enjoyed my breakfast this morning, or great cup of coffee, whatever. So change happens when we're willing to commit to do something different. The power of change is always in your hands. Whatever's going on in the world, you can change how you feel about it. You can change how people see you, experience you, notice you. The choice is there for you. I always work on the basis thinking about what the worst thing can happen is someone think I'm mad. What's different from thinking I'm sad, grumpy? Is mad better than sad and grumpy? So you take that time. Okay. Yeah, I can be weird. I have a social battery. I know my social energy runs down. So you put me in an environment, lots of people for too long, my social battery runs out, and I will leave or just sit there quietly in the background recharging. And I recognise that limitation, and I recognise there is that place I need to go. And my wife, who's more of an extrovert, finds that really annoying sometimes. Yes, I don't feel like being social at the moment. I need to recharge, but I can make changes. Recognise actually there is time, and for me, it's always large social event. Okay, what will I enjoy about it? It's creating that positive impression. What I will be doing, and that's really constant change. What I'm doing differently is what I'm doing giving me the results I want. If the answer is no, change something. And being willing to change is the key part. It's really the key question I would take away from today. What will you do different? If you're not happy where you are, change something. Figure out what you can change. If you're looking at your boss and going, oh, he doesn't like me. How do you know he doesn't like you? He sees that he has an impression of you in his head. You can change that impression. Small changes. How long it takes for that to have an impact on what's going on, nobody knows. Your recognition is what small change you can do. So you find that happy thought, put a smile on your face. You just go, oh, this is my thinking face. This is my thoughtful face. And I'll focus my face switches. And always start making a joke of how your face expressions work. But explaining what they are on a regular basis. I'm thinking, not sad. People will start to see you differently. Different. So being you, being comfortable being you, knowing you can succeed as an introvert, knowing you can succeed as who you are. It's not about changing who you are. It's about doing something different. It's finding that success within. You have it within you. You can succeed. I spend my time working through these workshops, and I know my presentation, I'm never going to be anyone who's going to be talking for an hour. I don't currently have that capacity. I know that I have almost a psychological barrier at 20 minutes is where my energy runs out, and I need to go and recharge. And that is, we reach 20 minutes, and that's fantastic. Right. Okay. I know I'm digging deep into the reserves and just going. So, but thanks for your time. I'd love to know what you thought. I am really developing and exploring these subjects and thinking, this is the right focus. So do let me know. Go, oh, I didn't quite get that. Oh, that was great. And you explain that in a bit more detail. Always happy to, always adapting and learning. For me, these workshops, as as much about me learning about myself as me helping other people. Because sometimes it's only by expressing our thoughts and opinions we really build out the ideas. If you want to know more, you can contact me on social media, or email me at brian@brianpauljohnson.com. The QR code will allow you to book some time in my diary. Always happy to have a chat to see how I can help and what difference I can make. Now I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your lunchtime and have a great day.